full power, Bardock's blast continues after destroying the Death Ball and disintegrates Frieza before he knows what hit him. From here, Bardock uses his immense power to quickly dispose of the rest of Frieza's soldiers. One by one, they fall into his hands. The soldiers who had looked down on and even were finally put down and overthrown by the legend that their emperor. On planet Vegeta, a true rebellion started, but some of Frieza's men were able to destroy the ships and flight bays before being killed. A final act of vengeance shows the Saiyans were nothing without the Frieza Force. Bardock returns to planet Vegeta and helps finish off the rest of Frieza's men. Then he quickly finds Ine, asking her if she's okay and telling her that something crazy happened. She can tell by the hair, but she tells him not to worry about it now. They have to go get Kakarot now that Frieza is defeated. With no ships on the planet, they'd have to think of something else. Bardock asks some of the Royal Engineers how long creating new ships will take. They tell the Super Saiyan that without parts from the Frieza Force, it can take over a decade to get one moderately sized ship up and running. That's not including the launch bays and the landing pads. Bardock thinks it over and asks if having a close-in ship would speed up the process. The engineer says yes, but where would they get such a ship? The Frieza Force destroyed the ships extremely thoroughly. Bardock doesn't say a word and flies upwards at full speed. He comes back down with Frieza's ship in his arms. He asks the engineer if this would do. Good. As opposed to making new ships, repairing Frieza's ship, the launching and landing phase only takes around 5 years. Not ideal, but better than taking over a decade. Once the ship is finished, Bardock is told that he gets ready to bring Ine with him to go get Kakarot on Earth. As he makes his way to the launch bay, he's met by a group of high-ranking Saiyans and King Vegeta himself. King Vegeta tells Bardock that this ship will be used for colonization and resource gathering. It has room for 3 Saiyans and will be used for better research. Rather than a rescue the sun, Bardock gets they'd all be dead without him. King Vegeta tells him that whether Super Saiyan or not, he's still not one of the Saiyans. Bardock never leaves hearing. The Saiyans living a life of destruction and conquest is what led them to almost be destroyed by Frieza. Did King Vegeta really think their that life wouldn't mean the same thing? Bardock didn't want to stay longer. Over the past 5 years, he tried to perfectly understanding of the Super Saiyan. Not the hardest of power. He walks towards King Vegeta, and as he does, he activates the Super Saiyan. Bardock makes it very clear that no, he never wants his son. King Vegeta said he doesn't, but if he doesn't at the very least challenge Bardock, he'll never be respected by his subordinates ever again. So he charges in. Bardock stands completely still, taking punch after punch without switching. A single punch of retaliation was enough to completely shut off the ground. Angered by his own failure, he awaits the finishing blow. But it never comes. Bardock extends a hand to Vegeta. He doesn't want to be King Saiyan. Just wants his son to home and a equal to Saiyan. King Vegeta takes the hand and smiles for the bush. He smiles, and Bardock thinks the final punch ends the king's life. He looks around at the other Saiyans, who all immediately feel the pull of Super Saiyan. Bardock looks for Ine, and eventually spots her on the ground, sobbing. Without that ship, they won't be able to go get their son, and they need to wait at least 5 more years for a new ship to be finished. Luckily, they will complete a decade as a new ship will be started for 5 separate something being able to but it can't
Dude. Well,
but it's not.
Take that. Really? Can't tell. I see the right one. I saw it before.
Getting his son before anything else. Reluctantly, Barnum accepts his new plan and is escorted to the castle where he is a young lad and will live. Take cover! 5 years
You fucker. You
his
bitch.
mission of a peaceful life for the Saiyans wasn't fully fulfilled. The Saiyans
Yeah.
under him seemed to enjoy this lifestyle, but that was about to change when the first Saiyan ship was completed and Bardock says he's leaving to rescue his son. The Saiyans didn't understand. A journey like this would take some time both ways, and without their leader, their savior, would they really be safe? Regardless, he is their king, and with the Super Saiyan form, no one can stop him from doing what he wants anyway. So Bardock and Gine board the newly made ship to retrieve their son. He tells his advisors to take care of things while he is gone, and reassures all the Saiyans that he'll be back as quickly as possible. The Saiyans salute their leader on his way off. So the pair set off on their mission to rescue their son. The round trip would take around a year by itself, not including time spent searching for Kakarot while they arrive on Earth. Meanwhile, news had reached Vegeta and Nappa Prime about the rebellion and the death of Vegeta, but this news isn't given to them by the Saiyans. It's a vengeful father, hired emperor, as he tells the Saiyans. Holt tells the Saiyans
Make it count.
Vegeta after becoming a Super Saiyan, and Frieza heroically gave his life trying to stop him. This, of course, never happened, but they had no way to know that. Raditz goes to speak up and defend his father, but Vegeta, in a blind rage, blasts him, killing him on the spot. King Cold smiles while not facing the two, and tells them that due to the nature of this tragedy, he will allow the Saiyans.
Hey, why didn't you get out of my way?
Vegeta tells Nappa that the Saiyans will recognize him as the prince, and he will retake his planet, claiming his rightful place as the king of Planet Vegeta. So, they take one of King Cold's ships and head to Planet Vegeta immediately. The journey didn't take long at all. Only a couple of days after Bardock had left the planet with Gine, Nappa and Vegeta arrived, back after being gone for a decade on missions on Earth and working directly for King Cold. The Saiyans surround the ship as it lands, suspecting a group of Frieza soldiers to come out seeking revenge. But all their weapons and charged E-blasts are lowered when they see 2 Saiyans exit the ship. Nappa and Vegeta are welcomed back to the planet with open arms. So, where is this new king of universe? The Saiyans tell the now fully grown prince that Bardock is off board, and he'd be gone for at least a year. This opportunity is immediately apparent to the young prince. It is my honor to help guide the Saiyans from this mission. The Saiyans were clearly upset and long with the quick departure of Bardock, so they cheered his idea on and accepted Vegeta as a temporary ruler of planet Vegeta. Nappa is surprised to hear Vegeta continue a peaceful life with the Saiyans.
Whatever, man.
But Vegeta tells Nappa that they will be safe for being technically Frieza. They will play Bardock's game while they train in secret to meet the so-called Super Saiyan. Nappa is still nervous since the Super Saiyan is supposed to be unbeatable, but Vegeta reassures him that he will become a Super Saiyan as well. It will last everyone can achieve that power. Then a prince will have no difficulty doing the same. With that, Vegeta and Nappa begin to use the still amazing planet Vegeta to train, even having special training rooms built to exploit Saiyan biology. Meanwhile, King Cold is on his ship pondering his next move. If the Super Saiyan could easily defeat Frieza, then it could potentially defeat him as well. Using Vegeta and Nappa to scout the situation would benefit him greatly, especially if he could get them to be Super Saiyan as well. He could easily defeat this usurper with their unwitting help. With this set around half a year, Bardock and arrive on Earth using their scouters to locate Kakarot and fly to him, arriving at Mount Kaiju right outside the home of Grandpa Gohan. Grandpa Gohan emerges from the hut to confront them. What will happen next? Bardock and Gine are on Earth, yet Kakarot when they are met by Grandpa Gohan. As they arrive, the sky begins to go dark and the full moon begins to rise. Of course, without looking at the moon, they won't transform, and Grandpa Gohan quickly tells Goku to stay inside the hut. If you haven't realized yet, this is the night Grandpa Gohan would have died. But with Bardock and Gine on Earth, the circumstances have changed. The 10 years that have passed on planet Vegeta equate to 8 years on Earth, around a year before the adventure of Dragon Ball would begin. Now, we don't know when Gohan died in canon, or what the difference in year length between planet Vegeta and Earth actually are, but as you can tell from the first part, this is just a story for fun, so that these nuanced details don't focus on too much. Grandpa Gohan notices Bardock and Gine's tails and invites them inside, assuming who they are based on that fact alongside Bardock's hairstyle. Bardock doesn't want to go in, thinking they should just take their child and leave. He considers using force, but Gine tells him to calm down now. They shouldn't risk Goku being caught in the crossfire for some big battle, even if the fight would be one-sided. Once they enter, Grandpa Gohan offers them a drink, and Goku hides behind his adoptive grandfather, unsure about the people in front of him. Bardock doesn't take anything to drink, while Gine accepts. Grandpa Gohan says he assumes they're both the boy's parent, and Gine nods. Bardock is looking away, not wanting to waste time on this at all.
Alright then, stand by for your target locations.
But presses on. He tells the pair how he found Goku's pod.
I'm sending you some visual ID of our targets. Make sure to familiarize yourself. Okay, I have a couple more confirmed reports of groups carrying illegal equipment.
That Gohan for being
One
so
cache of
careful with their
weapons and one
child.
stash of
Gine pulls
gear.
Bardock back.
As usual, some of these targets are more amply strapped than others, so pay a visit to whomever you deem worthy. You know what we need. Weapons, masks, and armor that can't be traced to us. Decide who you want to hit.
And himself.
Any additional weapons or gear you collect will go into storage. You can choose which to use when the time comes.
Oh, for the lava screen. I had diabetes, by the way. Not everything, but yeah, he was really good. Oh, cool, I look, bro. Hold my Glock! Are you shot at?
A small-time gang with small-time weapons should be light work for you.
Oh shit!
Be careful. Now they know you're there. They'll be coming after you.
Let's go! Let's go! Oh, there you are! Fuck! Oh shit! Ah! Eh! Smoke! OG! Good.
on Earth. There was something peaceful about the way that the fight was framed. Something the Saiyans don't believe in. As Bardock continued watching the fight, a communication is being requested on Bardock's scouter. He answers it and says he's busy and will be returning to planet Vegeta shortly. Unfortunately, it's his advisor's fault, and it's not a
Oh, it says
fault.
Buzz.
He tells Bardock about Prince
The
Vegeta
bad guys are
returning
there.
and taking over leadership in his absence. The advisor goes on to tell Bardock that Vegeta has been upholding Bardock's will for the Saiyans as well. This pleases Bardock since he doesn't want to be
They didn't
taken
have.
anyway, so he asks what's the issue. Bardock's advisor tells him that Vegeta has requested training facilities be built in secret for the Prince and Nappa alone to use. They did it without informing the royal advisor to avoid the news getting back to Bardock. Based on their recent power readings, though, it is possible that the two Saiyan elites may overtake Bardock in terms of power before he can return to planet Vegeta. They may even seek to become Super Saiyans as well. Bardock begins to think what their next move should be, but before he can give any commands, the communication is cut off.
Wait for me, wait for me.
Advisor has been killed for treachery. Bardock turns the communicator on his scouter off and tells Ine what's going on back
Oh,
on
fuck.
planet Vegeta. He doesn't have the heart to tell her that he suspects the worst for Raditz though. She asks him what they're going to do, but he just hands her his scouter. She's confused by what Bardock is doing. He explains to her that, for the moment, planet Vegeta isn't safe to return to, at least not with his son and wife by his side. So he's making the decision to return to planet Vegeta and face the Prince. There's a good chance if he leaves immediately, he'll still be stronger than the pair of Saiyans waiting for him.
Okay, Surya, they.
Gohan interjects and tells Bardock that if he's sure about doing this on his own, he should do one thing before he leaves Earth. So, after completing the task Grandpa Gohan laid out for him, Bardock leaves Ine and Goku with Grandpa Gohan. In Bardock's year-long journey back to planet Vegeta, Vegeta reaches his full height and peak body, so he's able to gain the most from his training. On Earth, Ine, Goku, and Grandpa Gohan join Bulma on her trip to hunt the Dragon Balls, and with the help of Grandpa Gohan and Ine, who was once a Saiyan warrior as well, they have
There should be both weapons and gear at these locations.
Conquest. Finally, Bardock arrives back on planet Vegeta, an unexpected landing that startles everyone present at the landing bay. When Bardock exits the ship, he doesn't say a word and makes his way where he barges in. The other side of Vegeta and Nappa, the Super Saiyan, is now standing. Vegeta snaps at his advisors and even told Bardock the scouter was still on Earth. The reason he gave it to him the element of surprise. The advisor replies the scouter is on Earth, and that Bardock is there on purpose. Bardock's eyes glide on the advisor. The advisor stay away from Vegeta. Yes, the first his advisor calls right. Like the minute it returned, and lied to try to Bardock is longer so they could guarantee their victory. After that, he came back immediately and ready for the fight. Bardock transformed
I appreciate your
the Saiyan
professionalism.
for the first time in years and radiates his power level of 500,000. Vegeta looks at his scouter and laughs. It turns out they didn't need to train longer after all. They were training to beat Frieza's power level of 530,000, not a mere 500,000. While Nappa still has no chance of beating Bardock, Vegeta is boasting a power level of 520,000. Not enough to beat Frieza yet, but more than enough to beat Bardock even as a Super Saiyan. So the two begin to battle, and while Bardock isn't being completely destroyed, he is on the losing side. Every attack dealing more and more damage until Bardock's moves become sluggish and his body becomes heavy, eventually reverting to his base form. Vegeta laughs at Bardock's weakness and begins to gloat that he is the true Super Saiyan. That's not important to Bardock, though. While Vegeta rambles and gloats, Bardock begins to think about his family, just like he did before turning Super Saiyan the first time. But this time, there's no miracle power to save him, and he's too late to save one of his children already, as it is. At least he'll die comfortably, knowing that his child and wife are safe on Earth. Wait, Earth? He remembers what Grandpa Gohan told him to do before leaving that planet. He told him to visit someone and to ask for something. A request for an item. A last resort. Bardock reaches into his wristband and pulls out a single bean. Gohan had told him to eat this if he was ever in trouble, so he decided to risk it and eats the bean. Of course, this is a Senzu bean, and Bardock is instantly healed to full strength. While Vegeta was gloating about the public execution he'd set up for Bardock so that people are reminded who their true king is, he even begins to say how he wishes Raditz could have witnessed Bardock's death. Bardock gets up and turns into a Super Saiyan once again. Vegeta laughs and tells Bardock that it's useless to fight him. What Vegeta doesn't realize is not only has Bardock been healed, he has received a Zenkai boost. Now, Zenkai boosts are fairly arbitrary narrative devices rather than straight numerical values, so I'm just going to grant Bardock a 10 times boost, which isn't too far-fetched considering what we saw on Namek in canon. This pushes Bardock to a power level of 5 million in his Super Saiyan form, far beyond anything Vegeta could hope to achieve, and because of that, the Saiyan Prince never becomes the true king, and Bardock retains his unwanted crown. Under his breath, Bardock says, that was for Raditz. So, with Bardock victorious, he has to remove and imprison any and all traitors within his ranks. If he doesn't, threats to his family can emerge in vain. As he deals with the traitors, he finds out some disturbing information. King Cold wants Bardock's head for killing Frieza. This is a much greater risk to his family than he realized. Bardock links with Guinea Scouter and tells her to stay on Earth for just a little bit longer. Until he can ensure their safety, Kakarot and Guinea can't return to planet Vegeta. Guinea understands and asks how long he thinks it will take, but he doesn't have an answer for her. For now, she would have to raise Kakarot on Earth with the help of Gohan. So, the two parents are split apart once again. On Earth, they eventually go to Kame House to have Goku trained from the ground up in the Turtle School style of martial arts. If they don't have to leave before it arrives, they'll even compete in the Tenkaichi Budokai. On planet Vegeta, Bardock trains in the facilities Vegeta made and uses the methods that exploit the adaptive nature of Saiyan biology, such as comrades inflicting fatal injuries and gravity training. Things will come to a head when Bardock is confronted by King Cold in our next part. But the retired Emperor may not be alone. Now, one final threat seems to loom over the Super Saiyan's head. Before he and his family can truly be safe.